we're ready to record. I'm just trying to like
got it.
release.
Hey, what's up? This is Elliott Ashby.
And I'm Lyric Wills.
And this is He Said.
She Said.
And today we're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff. I think I want to start off
Hella
talking
topics.
about hella topics. I want to start off talking about Will Smith. Now, first of all, I don't want anyone to think I'm a hater. Will Smith is amazing in a lot of different ways. I just don't understand why he has to be amazing in every different space. Like, he's a movie star. He already did television. Like, he shut down television with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So you already, like, you're the king of television. You're the king of movies. Then you decide you want to be the king of Instagram. Now you're doing Facebook. Like, bro, what's next? Snapchat? Like, can the little guys, can we have somewhere where we can be where Will Smith isn't there dominating it? Because he makes it look easy. He makes it look like he's just by himself, has no other team of people helping him. And he really has a whole team of people. That's like Beyonce doing the 7-Eleven video, and we're supposed to believe that she just had this idea and did this on her little iMac.
Like, yeah,
she
great.
doesn't have
you
an
did this
iMac.
on the iPhone, but you had Steven Soderbergh direct this video, man.
Like, bro, like, could we just have one space where we can be? But here's the thing, I could see Will Smith dominating a bigger space. Because in his show, I watched one of the episodes of his bucket list where he basically takes on all of his biggest fears. And one of his biggest fears was to do stand-up. So to do stand-up, he's like, yo, I gotta sit down with one of the kings. I gotta sit down with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
So he sits down with Dave Chappelle, and before they sit down and talk about jokes and stuff, somebody sees them in the car and it's like, oh my gosh, Will Smith, like, you should run for president.
I'm gonna take that under advisement. Please. Well, I'll be the vice president. That way, nothing bad will happen to Will. Oh my God.
That would be crazy.
That'd be amazing.
I can get with that. I don't want him on every social media platform right now, but if he was president,
I mean,
that
I think
would
they'd
be
the
dope.
next- and you know, honestly, when Will Smith started out, he had DJ Jazzy Jeff. So I think his formula is like a two-person thing. Like, he had DJ Jazzy Jeff, he had Martin Lawrence. So like, Will Smith and Dave Chappelle sounds hella promising.
Instead of like, because we were thinking like, what role would it make sense for Dave Chappelle to play? And you were saying,
I think he'd be a great press secretary because.
So it'd be like, I'm the president, he's the press secretary. Instead of like, I'm the DJ, he's the rapper. Exactly. Like,
Dave Chappelle, what are your thoughts on Daniel Caesar?
Yeah, very gay.
But the problem would be for Dave Chappelle is like, Dave Chappelle would be saying stuff that like Will Smith would have to walk back. He would have to do.
Like, wait, no, I'll do my own press.
Like in this case, like the orange guy, you know, Donald Trump, he'll say something crazy, and then Sarah Huckabee Sanders has to try to explain. Well, no, what he said was completely irrational because, and then she has to just lie.
Yeah.
Like, imagine like if
Dave
Dave
Chappelle
would be saying it more clearly. He'd be like, basically, he told all them people they can take a hike. Suck my, no, he'd be saying way too much, and Will Smith was like, no. It'd be like the anger translator for Obama, but instead of it be Luther leading, like Luther would be like, no, we don't need Luther there, and then it wouldn't work out. You know it wouldn't work out.
You're stupid.
CNN, go ahead. Fox News, we don't mess with y'all. It'd be crazy. But my thing would be the theme song. So, and let's up here, born and
like the
raised.
Fresh Prince of DC.
Yeah, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the president of the United States of America.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It kind of works. You just gotta get your flow right.
I know, but it'd be like but could you imagine the song, like little song, a little video?
I'm into it. I feel like
I can see it. And then Jada would be up in there. Jada as the
as
first lady. White House red table talk.
Oh shit.
That shit would be epic.
Hella colorful. All the colors.
Yeah, and she would be bringing people in to like have
the
shows
jokes.
talking about bullying.
Jada would be kind of like, I know this is kind of crazy, but like she would be like, what was Kerry Washington on Scandal? Like she would be all the things. She'd be the first lady and she'd be Kerry Washington on Scandal. And like, it's okay if she has an affair with the president because she's already married to him. It's great. It's like simple math.
You're so right about that, but I just imagined something else.
What? Jordyn Woods?
No.
Just kidding.
No, because what she does, you're on the right topic. Because what Jada does is Jada brings together people that have issues. So she could bring together, she'd be like, we're here with the leader of North Korea, and we're here with the leader of South Korea, and I understand, that there's been some issues. And Jada can sit there and work it out on Red Table Talk,
like to see her
and we could be watching on Facebook.
I would like her to, I kind of want Jada to, she kind of has to settle it the way like they would settle issues on Fresh Prince. Like, I want it to be like, y'all duke this out of a game of basketball. Like, First person to 15. Like, can you imagine if they solved all like political issues? Like, yo, we about to play horse.
And Jaden,
the presidential what is it called, the basketball thing?
I don't know what they call it.
I don't know.
But Jaden will be bringing free water to countries that don't have clean water.
Jaden has a water company.
He's got a water company. He will be taking this to Bangladesh and places where people don't have clean drinking water, where people are suffering from all sorts of. And Willow, I don't know what Willow will be doing, but she'd be writing everyone's national anthem. Now that I think about it, the Smiths as a first family kind of works. So, but that's why I laughed so hard at the beginning. You were like, oh, why does he have to be good at everything? It's just like they're just like, think about it. We just played this game hypothetically, but I'm like, oh, it could work hypothetically. It could.
Like, it could work. I'm not bad at it.
All right, we got to talk about something else. I want to talk about music real quick because
I love music.
Anderson .Paak, like he has a dope project coming out. He's got everyone from like Smokey Robinson, Andre 3000. The project is going to be a problem. And he just released one of his songs from it called King James. On it, he's talking about a list of social justice issues, talking about everything from police brutality to immigration. Yeah. And he's talking about these serious issues, but we still get a chance to dance because we see that joy is a form of resistance when we're able to talk about issues. Because he said, yeah, we're down, but we can't stay down. We got to get up. Right. That's political and it's powerful. I love the fact that like black artists are not holding no punches. Like they're saying everything they want to say, but they're still maintaining their joy. Like I don't have to be angry and upset about this. Like there's still an anger, but there's an anger saying that we're going to mobilize. Like he's saying we're not just going to talk about this, we got to do something about it. And if you will allow me, I would like to just read a few quotes from it because I feel like there's some quotables.
I like it. I think the entire song is quotable, so I'm down with it. Let's go.
All right, let me tell you.
Read lyrics to lyric.
If they build a wall, let's jump the fence. I'm over this. So talking about the wall, talking about the fence, saying like we're not going to let this hold us back. He said, cold stares could never put fear in me. What we built here is godly. You can't gentrify the heart of kings. Damn, that's some heat.
Ain't no room for you here.
Let's not just talk about it. If I make a move, you're coming with me. He also talks about Colin Kaepernick. Later in the song, he says, we couldn't stand to see our children shot dead in the streets, but we finally took a knee, and them blanks took me out the league. And so it's talking not only about Kaepernick, talking about King James. It's a very uplifting song. It's also a song that makes you want to dance. Like, this is one of the dopest songs out right now.
Lyrically, I like the fact that he puts himself in first person. Like, he speaks about, like, when he did the Colin Kaepernick reference, I like the fact it was just like, he was speaking as if he was Cap, and I think that's so important. Where we stop like segregating ourselves and like disintegrating ourselves from the story and start realizing that just because it happened to a different entity, a different person, it doesn't mean it's not happening to us, because what's happening to one is happening to all. So I really, really appreciate this time of like. What I really like is that a lot of our artists are giving us gospel, and we don't got to go to church for it.
Woo!
We don't have to be in church. Like now, you don't have to be religious to get this gospel and get this truth. Like, and I'm here for everybody preaching their gospel, being in their truth, and like just promoting like messages and ideas of unity, resistance, love, reaffirming a black identity, reaffirming like the pillars of different movements. Like it just excites me, and again, like to be able to dance to it, like, but not in a coony jigabooey way. Like that's really important because too often messages get conflated or contaminated with like we still got to make this like a pop record, and so I think you're seeing a lot of people successfully giving us messages of hope and
without having to dilute their message,
without diluting the message.
Or sell
and that's
out.
So important because like that's another reason why we don't take these things seriously. That's why we can't mobilize these moments into movements, because it's like as soon as the record cuts off, that's where activism cuts off. So like I'm really, really happy to see that this is a theme in hip hop and in music altogether.
Can we even go back to, I don't know if this is taking it too far, but 5 years ago, The Pimp a Butterfly came out around this time. And that album obviously was very serious, very political, and it worked.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy, but I think even the success of records like that and the success of artists like J. Cole, like being able to talk about something and still see that we can still have a good time with it, but we don't have to dumb it all the way down. Like we don't have to dumb it down to coonery. And so we talked about Anderson .Paak, but you also said that there was an artist that you've been listening to right now that was...
I have that Lucky Day has been doing it for me. One of my friends was like, yo, there's this artist named Lucky Day. I think that you'd really be excited about it. So of course I tuned into the project. He dropped a project back in November.
Singer, rapper.
He's a singer from New Orleans, and guess it's so funny because like when I first put on Roll Some More, which was like his first single, he kind of gave me Frank Ocean vibes, and he's from New Orleans. So I also read somewhere that it's his dream to like do a record with Frank, being that they're both from New Orleans, and there's some comparison there. But there is a distinction. I love his music. It's that hip hop. It's that hip hop sprinkled R&B that we're used to, but it's still
like Sirish.
Like it, but not like he has a lot of like there's another track on the second album, Karma, that kind of has like his Prince influences. So he's incorporating all elements of music: jazz, funk, hip hop.
Will I like it?
You would definitely like it. I was so sad because I played Real Games, which I feel like Real Games is if you're looking to get an idea of like his versatility, I feel like Real Games is probably for me is the standout record. Like I know I read somewhere like in Pitchfork and Rolling Stone that it was Painted. Painted sounded too kitschy and on the nose for me, but Real Games. Because like I like getting into the production of like just how music can just go take you all these places. When I hear music, it looks like an EKG machine for me. Like it's lines up and down. So Real Games, it was like that because it starts off like this funky, like it has like this nice little slap to it, and then it gets into like this R&B Bryson Tiller sounding thing, and then it transitions into a more R&B crooning. So you have like a bunch of different elements.
But is it better than Jacquees? You know what I'm saying? That's the king of R&B right there.
You're such a troll.
Somebody said that R&B actually like lost its vibe when people stopped grabbing the air when they were singing.
I think the air grab is very.
They said people stopped doing that, and that's when R&B just fell off, like because people stopped grabbing the air.
I agree. I'm gonna start grabbing the air to convey my strongest points. I think I'm gonna incorporate that.
Now, we said we're going to talk about a bunch of different things in this episode. One of the things that we were going to talk about was what happened in New Zealand, obviously in the mosque over, what, is it over, I'm not sure if the numbers are over 50 or right around that.
It's right at 50.
Yeah, right around 50. We know there are, 34 people that are still...
34 people are still in the hospital. But 12 to 15 are in ICU. And
half of that number are children, right?
Yeah. Like of that is like a large majority of those people that are in ICU are children. And this is, we talk about like the importance and like how grateful we are for Anderson giving us King James. It's so sad that we need records like this still in 2019. So we're talking about more terrorism, but like terrorism outside of America. We're talking about like hatred for Muslim people, and it's really unfortunate. Like you had 50 unsuspecting people who went somewhere to pray, and they lost their lives. And this is no different than what occurred in South Carolina. And one of the things that like I feel weird saying this, but one of the things that I was grateful for was the way Sean King is the way, not was, because he's still very active in reporting what's going on in New Zealand. One of the things that I'm very grateful for is how he's doing it. Like, so over the weekend, unfortunately, we've been inundated with like photos of the victims. And like with the photos, he's giving you captions, as he always does anytime like there's a victim of any type of like assault or tragedy. He's giving you pictures and stories of the people. And I was like, this is so important, because too often when we're talking about like acts of terrorism, we speak so heavily about numbers. We make statistics out of lives. So when he was like posting even something simple as posting pictures and just like paying homage and like eulogizing these people on Instagram, you take away, like it's very important for us to remember, like we're not talking about a decline in numbers, we're talking about a loss of life. Like, it's so important that we maintain this idea that, like, yes, we're talking about a decline in numbers. Statistically, people die, but like, let's talk about the people that have died. Like, their these were energetic entities. Like, these are people that were contributing something to society, and we lost them for that. And I'm especially grateful for the way the Prime Minister of New Zealand has been handling it. It's like immediately she uses the proper languages. She acknowledges that this was a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
That she acknowledges that. Immediately we're talking. She's entertaining gun reform. These are all. In this, she's demonstrating the proper way to respond to these issues.
And I think America stands out in contrast because when you have over 50 people shot, another 50 people injured, and there's supposed to be 5 different car bombs, and yet there's some people in America that still can't use the word terrorist or white nationalist when it's very clear when you read the writings of this person, the things that they subscribe to, and yet we still can't call. And I don't even know if I like the term call a spade because that might be in a racist origin, but we still can't call it what it is when it's right in front of our faces. And you have, a president who says that they don't think there's been a rise in white nationalism the same weekend. In response to this is saying that he doesn't see it as a rising trend. Every single time he has an opportunity to say something very clear about white nationalism, whether it be Charlottesville or whether it be New Zealand, he deflects. And then you wonder why right now 1 in 5 people are saying that they don't think that he is against white nationalism. 1 in 5 Americans, which means 4 out of 5 Americans think that you ride with these people. Why? Yeah. Why would they think that? What would give them that idea? The media? Because even if you say that statistic is biased and, statistics don't always tell the truth, the fact that the numbers are anywhere like that is insane.
So the reason why the numbers can be what they are is because there's so much of information available on the internet. Mm-hmm. This, aside from it being a terrorist attack, it's also a form of content. He started this off recording it. He had a Facebook Live post. It started off in his car. People didn't know what he was doing, but it started off in his car. It was like a day in the life of a terrorist. And so there's so much information available on the internet for people who are entertaining ideas of extremism. And it's just the way the internet is designed. You can go and get all this information on YouTube. And what happens with YouTube is think about how many times you've gone to listen to a song on YouTube, and then you're on YouTube for 2 hours because all these other songs were recommended to you. And there's an algorithmic nudge to every part of YouTube.
Sure. So if you're a racist person, you just start picking up on suggested video.
Yeah, and
suggested video.
How to do
more and more hate, more and more xenophobia, and for me, the xenophobia is the first word that I jump to because I feel like there's just a lot of hatred in the world right now, and there are people that are always seeing the other person as the other. And the saddest thing for me is that there are a lot of people out there that identify themselves as Christians. And I think the main call of Christians is always look out for the widow, the orphan, the stranger, the foreigner. That's what the Bible repeats over and over again from New Testament into Old Testament. And yet you have people that they claim that they are Christian people, and yet the way they treat people that don't look like them. And a lot of these people are white, but some of them even look like us. But still, they have a fear of the immigrant, a fear of the other. They're taking away, they're coming to get, not realizing that a lot of times what the countries that they live in have done is destabilize these regions, where now you have refugees because you've destabilized these countries. And you've went around promoting what your country was to them. And so now when they come to the country, now they come, like Trevor Noah said, now you're upset, but you literally went there telling us this, that Britain was great, and then we get here, and you're upset that we're here.
Now we're not welcome.
So what are we talking about?
Absolutely.
And so we're seeing this all over the world, Islamophobia, but even bigger than that is xenophobia of you are not from here, you do not belong here, which tells me that people don't understand how migration has worked in the world in the first place. You have slavery. Aboriginal people all around the world who were there first and whose whole cultures have been written over. For us to be in America and be talking about borders and be talking about you're not, what?
Yeah.
It's so do you not know about the Native Americans? It is so crazy.
Yeah, speaking of Aborigines, and Australia, Aborigines just were rewarded their reparations in Australia. So all of these things, the idea of religion, it really sticks out to me. Yeah. Because when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about Christ and the 2 loaves, and then I think about the parable of teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a day. Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And honestly, that's the kind of concept that comes to mind when you make such hateful information available. It's and you don't regulate gun laws. It's like, give a man a gun and he might kill someone. Give a man a gun and then arm him with information to hate and to do other things, and give him a recipe for terrorism, and he will go and kill 50 people.
Yo,
you will go you will shoot up Vegas.
Yeah.
You will shoot up South Carolina. You will shoot up New Zealand. You are literally teaching someone and teaching generations of hatred and perpetuating these cycles.
Yeah, I saw this video with this former skinhead, and he was on there talking about the way this former skinhead was talking about Fox News was so telling. It wasn't like it was anything I didn't know.
But it was like the Bible for him?
Well, they are playing with language and ideas about people of color, whether it's the idea that they are, be it less intelligent or prone to criminal activity, or what they do now is they don't say it's anything inherent within these people. They say it's the culture or whatever, right? And so they play with these ideas. And then when something bad happens, no one wants to be attached to it.
No one wants to touch it.
And I don't think it's fair to be like, yo, to basically lay this at their doorstep and say, like, you did this. They didn't do this. These people did this. But the ideologies that you're playing with is very dangerous. When you talk about black men in a particular way, that means now when someone interacts with me, if their only point of reference was Fox News, then they should be afraid of me. Based on the information that they've heard, it's only rational that they would be afraid of me.
And that's the unfortunate part too about how we now learn information. It used to be a time where the information that we collected wasn't so biased. Like, even like, again, if you rely everything on the internet, the information that even the internet is going to feed you is suggested based off of your interests.
Yeah,
there
so
is
it's
no
feeding
opposing
you.
view. There's no opposing view. There's no oppositional force or antagonist to what you're thinking. There's no advocacy. There's no advocacy of the other side.
And you don't. And I think you. And I'm sorry to cut in, but I think you don't understand like, people don't understand the magnitude. You know what I'm saying? So when I live in South Korea, people relate to me in a particular way when they first meet me based on what they've learned about me.
Tell them your nickname.
What they've learned about me online is this idea of how black people are. So that means everyone that encounters me in a different country, not just when I was in Korea, when I was in Thailand, when I was in every country I've been to, I've met people from those places who had ideas about me, who have never met me, just based on the color of my skin. And so you don't know how far that idea can travel. Like, you told an idea about people who look like me that traveled way around the world and is now telling people how to encounter me.
It informs them how to interact with you.
Yeah, because now they're thinking that every single black person speaks in Ebonics, and now they need to learn how to. And I'm like, no, don't. I won't teach you these things, because you'll walk up to every black person and think that you can talk to them.
Oh, that's the worst. And it happens here.
Somebody walked up to one of my friends and was like, yo.
How ignorant are you? Are you a basic racist?
This person walked up to my friend. He's like, yo, you must be from the hood. But in his mind, he was trying to be like.
Relate to you.
He was trying to relate. You know, and so it's not only. The problem is there's this intersection. This intersection is what you see from, far right conservative media. And that mixed with what you see pumping out of hip-hop culture, because hip-hop culture looks like people reduce black culture to hip-hop culture.
Yeah, people use
and
it as a proxy
those
to
two
our
ideas,
identity.
if that's who I am, then it's a very dangerous place for me to live in the world, because people are meeting me with a certain level of aggression. And I just don't, it's so hard for me to make people realize, like, y'all playing with stuff because y'all think it's cute, but you don't know
real life for people.
You don't know where this goes and who's listening to this. I've heard people say that, like, yo, don't play with me on camera, because people that are associated with me, they may not think what you're doing is a joke, and they may interpret it in a different way. And it's the same thing. Trump was playing with this idea of violence. He said, yo, people don't want it. He basically said, people don't want it with me because I got police officers. He said, I got military. I got some of the bikers. Yo, he said, I hope nothing happens. Like, you don't play with that. You're the president of the United States of America, and you talking reckless like that? Like, you're basically calling for violence. So when things like this happen and people come to your doorstep and you put your hands up like, I don't know what's going on. Like, let's not be brand new. Right. And at the same time, your wife, Melania, is doing an anti-bullying event. And at the same time, you're tweeting, you're spending your time not even talking about New Zealand. You're tweeting against John McCain. Which is crazy, because you dodged the war, right? So you dodged the draft. Then you made fun of somebody who was a war hero or a POW, right? And so you went at him while he was alive. Now that he's dead, you're still going at him in tweets while your wife is doing something on anti-bully. Like what? Like where are we? What's going on?
Oh,
like
please,
I wake up every morning just thinking this is like one big joke, and I'm wondering when is it going to end.
Nothing but a Black Mirror episode. Did you see the new Black Mirror episode, like the new ones? Whereas this basically is interactional now. Like
oh, you talking about the movie?
Yeah.
You didn't see the movie? The movie's dope.
The one where you pick and choose, like where
Yeah.
it's like asking, oh, I did it. It was scary. I was like, I'm not playing this game. I'm not.
But you're right. It feels like we're living in one of those episodes. But man, so much going on. I know we were supposed to talk about a story. You were supposed to tell us a story.
So we have these things where we like to end the episode. Let's tell them. Let's invite them into our living room.
Why not?
So we're gonna be sharing more stories with you because we want to hear your stories, and also we're inspired by your stories. This is why we sit here in front of this camera, doing this.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to talk about purpose because that's been a theme. You've been my counselor for the last 2 weeks.
Really?
Like you've been
I had no
such
idea.
a great friend.
I'm just
Yeah.
talking.
He's been such a great friend. What I like about my friendship with Elliott is that like I can call him and I'm like, oh, I'm questioning something. I'll give him an idea. And like, you don't sound like you're committed to this, and I think you need to do it. And
is that what I sound like?
Yeah, you do. You sound very like Obama. I'm like,
Whoa,
I talk to Obama every day, guys. Elliott. But one of the things that was really special to me, kind of hit me hard when you said it. It hit you hard when you said it too, because I'm working on something. I'm working on like my first artistic expression. I've finally given myself the permission to even call myself an artist. And I called you and I'm like, I don't know if blah 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 if I can do it. And I'm giving you were like, listen to your voice, because when you listen to your voice, it's like talking to God. It's like listening to God. And I'm like, it was like, whoa, boom, revelation, manifestation. And I've always struggled with the idea of purpose. And it was like, it kind of revealed itself to me the more I sat down, I sat with this concept that I was searching for purpose in the waiting room. I was sitting in this space, this metaphorical space, waiting for life, the universe, God, someone to reveal to me what my purpose is so that I can do this thing. And it hit me, I'm like, no, Lyric, start doing things on purpose. And in that lies your purpose. In that you'll find your purpose. You do the right things and you do them on purpose and you do them with purpose and you do it consistently. And that's how you define your purpose. And I think I speak for a lot of people who are probably still trying to navigate or figure out what their purpose is, or they're transitioning and they're looking for a purpose. My story is that, like, for me, I realized that, like, it's about doing things on purpose, being very deliberate and doing things with intent and honoring your integrity. So if you say you're going to do something, do it. If the thought came to your mind, like you said, like, be in your heart space, because that's where God speaks to you from. So, but when you don't trust that, you're not listening to his voice. So I pray every day that my ears can be hearkened to his word. Like, just universally, like, am I paying attention to the signs? So often we look for things and we ask people for advice, but we're not even asking for advice. What we're asking for is confirmation and for approval. I don't need that. So once I stopped operating in that space, I'm like, cool, I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So this week I'm sitting in front of this camera on purpose, talking to the people that are supporting me, holding me up. I'm doing this on purpose. I get so excited about coming here, and I'm like, all right, I'm here. I'm not in a waiting room no more. I'm like, This feels I like it in this space. The waiting room, they ain't giving me no water. They ain't have good lighting. I'm operating my purpose. I got all the amenities. They separated the M&Ms for me. I'm good. I'm out here. So yeah, that's where I am. I don't know if you can relate to that, but
No, I definitely can. I mean, just everyone's trying to operate in their purpose, and I think the biggest thing for me this year that I've been working on is just trying to be accountable to myself. The biggest thing I'm learning is, like, if you can't be accountable to yourself, like, you can't be accountable to anybody.
It's true.
So I've been having conversations with some of my siblings about, like, okay, what are some of our goals and how are we being accountable to ourselves? Because you need to figure you out. And once you figure you out, it'll make your interpersonal relationships a lot better, because you have to first be accountable to yourself and be able to call yourself on your own bullshit.
Right.
And then you can bring other people in. And so for me, I've just been in this wintertime spending a lot more time by myself, a lot of time at the house trying to work on, like, cooking on a regular basis and trying to work on credit and just trying to figure out budget and just like trying to do adult stuff that is kind of boring. But I'm working on all that boring stuff because it gets you grounded.
Yep,
and then once you're grounded, then once we start take off and we start getting all sorts of deals and favor and people are offering us different things, we can actually do it. Because sometimes you get blessings when you're not in a place where you're
ready
can
to
really receive them.
Yep.
And so it's better to get grounded, build that foundation, and go from there. So that's what we've been doing with the show. We've been doing this for you've been on I Have Elliott, I think now, like over 10 times at least.
More than that.
I mean that
because we have episodes. Yeah, but we have episodes that we haven't released. Yeah, December we did our first episode. Well, I was the first guest in December of last year. Yeah, now we're here 3 months.
Not of last year, December of a year, before that.
Of 2017. So yeah, we're now in 3 months into 2019. Yeah. Well, we're a little over a year into doing this and doing it on purpose.
And we are grateful that you guys have joined us here. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already. And check us out. What hashtag? I guess we're just using hashtag
he said. He/she said.
No, in the hashtag, if you do a slash,
you can't do it. Yes. Yeah. Hashtag he, she.
Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll put it down below. Thank you guys for checking out a brand new episode of He Said.
She Said.